And we're continuing with the video condensation of my book, How to Win Your Sexual Abuse Lawsuit. We're going to talk about keeping children safe. This is sometimes a very difficult thing because children can't always tell you when something is wrong. For infants, the main danger that they are in is unfortunately from other family members. And there's really nothing you can do to prevent this until somebody makes an attempt, except that you need to be aware of the fact that you have to be vigilant. If a child is quiet, you want to just take a little time to get some rest, they're getting into trouble. The main danger is from other family members. Be vigilant. You're not always going to be able to catch it in time, but you need to be vigilant. For small children, the next big danger is from babysitters, either professional daycare people or casual babysitters. A professional daycare center is actually usually safer than the nice lady down the street who takes children into her home every day to make some extra money. And the reason is that the professional daycare center is likely to have video cameras all over, check and make sure they do, a trained staff, and they don't let the staff's relatives and friends come in and wander on through. But the lady may have a son and he comes in and he molests the children. So that is the main danger for very small children. As the children grow and they go to school, be aware of their friends. Have a good relationship with your child. Listen to your child. Don't be too judgmental. And when I say don't be judgmental, it doesn't mean that you should suddenly have a lobotomy and everything is okay with you. What being non-judgmental means is that if the child tells you something wrong, don't start yelling at the child, punishing the child, or assigning blame. Let them talk to you and say, well, now here's a problem, how can we solve it? Right? The older children get, the more likely it is that they may be harmed or molested by their schoolmates or their friends, their playmates. And so you have to watch them. You have to be with them. You have to keep an eye on them, and when they are quiet, that's when they're getting into trouble. That is not when you can finally sit down after a hard day and just let them quietly play in the next room. No, 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 no. When they're quiet, they're getting into trouble. Believe me, that's when they get into trouble. As they get a little older and they start going off on them on their own, they become a little more vulnerable to people in the neighborhood. The guy who's got all the really neat video games and comic books in his basement and lets the kids come and play with the video games and the comic books, he's very suspicious. You know, a normal guy does not want to have kids running around his house if he doesn't have children himself. If he does, well then, you know, you've got a reason for it. But if he doesn't have kids on his own, you don't want your kids going over there. You don't. No? And if your child is in some organization where they do things like go off on camping, something like that, you go with them. No? You're a parent, you have a child, you deserve to have to sleep with a rock in your kidney in a tent. That's your punishment for being a child, for being a parent, okay? So that's something that you should do. As the kids grow up a little more, they start to get onto the internet. The internet is absolutely full of child molesters, many of whom pretend that they are other children. Restrict your child's internet. You can't stop it, but get a net nanny or net monitor on your computer and check their email. They want to have their privacy? Tough. But if you find something, don't freak about it. Look into it, take appropriate action, but don't be judgmental. Be cool. All right? As they get into late grammar school and high school, they are more liable to get harmed by other children. And so the main strategy is know where they are, know what they're doing. Children who have to walk home should always know a point that's about halfway between school and your house. Okay, pick a street and you say, if you are in this side of Main Street, you run back to school and you run into traffic. You know, in the direction of traffic, not in traffic. You run in the direction of traffic because it makes it harder for somebody in a car to pursue them. Right? If you're on the other side of the street, and you should always be walking toward traffic, if you're on the other side of Main Street, then you run home. Give children a cell phone as soon as you can so that they can call for help. Let them know that they never ever talk to strangers. They're always going to lose the conversation. You never get into a room with a stranger. You never get into a car with a stranger. You never approach the car with a stranger. Never, ever, ever. All right? Now we go to college. Everything I said about high school applies to college, and I'm going to say something that applies to high school and grammar school here as well. 80% of the victims of sexual assault in colleges were intoxicated. 80%. The number one factor in sexual assaults in colleges as well as high schools and even grammar school is alcohol. Why are these guys trying to give you alcohol? That's expensive. Why do they want to give you alcohol? Get you drunk. Why? It's not for your benefit, it is for theirs. You should not drink alcohol at a party. If you're going to drink alcohol, if you're going to go to a party, go with a friend. You know? And if your child is going to go to a party, you call the parent in high school and grammar school, you call the parents and make sure that they're going to be there. Make sure they're going to be there. You talk to the parents before your kid goes. Right? In college, it's a little different, but go with your friends. Don't leave your friends. Don't drink a mixed drink ever. Ever, ever, ever. Far too often they'll put the date rape drug in it. You know, a mixed drink is easy, you know, just boom, like that. They drop something in it, and you don't remember what happened to you for the rest of the night. You know, and you're zombified. You're a victim. Don't do that. If you're going to go to a party, insist on a can of something, a can of Coke. Not a Coke that's been poured. A can of something, and you open it and you don't put it down. If you put it down and turn your back on it for even a second, get another one. Right? That's how they get to you. They give you the date rape drug in a glass of anything. They give you alcohol and then put a date rape drug in it. Don't do it. All right? This is really common, and there's a debate right now about how common it is. The debate is irrelevant. It's common. Don't let this happen to you. All right? Watch out for these guys. Go with your friends, stay with your friends, leave with your friends. And what I said about strangers is still applicable. Don't go into the basement of any fraternity. Don't go into the upstairs of any fraternity. You know, I wish I could assure compliance if I said, don't go to fraternity parties at all, because I know you're going to want to do that. But fraternities are one of the big factors in sexual assaults. They really are. Fraternities, sororities, drugs, and alcohol are the 4 big factors associated with campus sexual assaults. And if you get assaulted on campus, don't go to the campus authorities. They know that a sexual assault is absolute poison to recruitment. They want to have full enrollment, and so they pretend that it didn't happen, and they'll be so sympathetic and try to talk you out of talking to the police. They're very cynical that way. Don't do it. Go to the real cops if you've got to go to a cops, or you can call your own lawyer. Don't call a friend and find out what the friend would do. Either call the lawyer, or if it's just happened, call the police. If it's just happened, you may still have the perpetrator semen inside you or on you. Call the real police, not the campus rent-a-cops. Don't do that. Don't involve the university at all until this thing is over. Go to the real cops, all right? Who's in charge of your safety? You are. Right? Thus endeth the lesson.